Hey there, how are ya? Welcome to the Fantasy FanReads podcast, where we gather as friends to chat about our shared love of all things reading. I'm Jess, an avid lifelong reader and lover of cozy conversations. So go ahead and grab yourself a cup of something wonderful and come on in. Today I'm joined by Lauren from Book Huddle, who you might know for her fabulous book recommendations, reading retreats, and masterful book boyfriend list. How are you doing today, Lauren?
I am doing great. Jess, I am so excited to be here. I really hope that you've taken some minutes to celebrate what an incredible start you've had to this podcast.
Thank you.
You've been doing such a great job. So I'm very, very happy to be here.
Oh, well, I'm so happy to have you here because I feel like you were one of the first people that I perceived as a big Bookstagram personality who I talked to online about Maxentarius Farleone, of course, who we will get to later, as we should, right? He should honestly be the topic of this entire interview. But
yeah, I mean, be careful what you wish for, because I could probably talk about him for 3 hours straight.
That's what I'm going to invite you back. We're just going to TED Talk Maxentarius.
Perfect.
A couple quick heads up for everyone who's listening before we get started. This episode will be spoiler free for any of the books that we mention, but I'm sure that Lauren will have a ton of great recommendations for us along the way. Fantasy FanReads is also the newest podcast in the Fantasy Fangirls Media Network, and as a new show, your support means the world. Please give us a follow at Fantasy FanReads on social media, rate and review the podcast, and spread the word to your friends. Plus, if you want to help support every show under the Fantasy Fangirls Media Network, you can join the Fantasy Fan Club for exclusive content, early access, and ad-free episodes, live Q&As, book club, private Discord, community events, and so much more. Go on over to fantasyfangirls.com/fanclub for more information about the Fantasy Fanatics and Deep Divers tiers and benefits where you get all show access. Whew! Now that that's out of the way, Lauren, oh gosh, I can't stop telling you how excited I am to have you here, but I love to start every episode with kind of a series of get-to-know-you questions, especially to get to know you as a reader. So I'm wondering, what are you reading right now?
I'm one of those people who always has 3 books on the go at one time.
3?
3. 1 print, 1 audio, 1 Kindle.
Okay.
It's constantly just going. If I do more than 3, it's too many. And I just need the different mediums. So I'll give a quick little rundown of what I'm reading. Audiobook, I'm doing a contemporary romance called The Best Worst Thing by Lauren Oakey. It's a debut. It's great. I can give the little blurb if you would like, but people can also look it up. Kindle, I'm rereading the Sarah J. Maas universe with my book club. So I'm on Crown of Midnight right now.
Okay.
Love it. And then physical book, I'm reading this really interesting dystopian book called The Book of Guilt by Catherine Chidgey. And it came out last year, and it's very kooky. I'm right in the beginning. It's really, really dystopian and interesting. So definitely out of my comfort zone, but I'm enjoying it so far.
I love that you have not only 3 different mediums going, but 3 different genres. That's like a wide range of books.
I really have an all or nothing personality, Jess. So I was like, I'm either reading all of the books or I'm reading none of them.
I usually read 2 books at once, and I always joke, I'm like, oh, they have to be very different for me to read 2 books at once, but very different to me is just serious fantasy and cozy fantasy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It can get very confusing if you're reading, 2 romantasies at once or 2 epic fantasies. My brain can't handle that. I need the different lanes for sure.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I have to ask, not that I want to go deep into this rabbit hole, but I can't help myself. In your book club's rereading of the Mass verse, where does Assassin's Blade go? Where does your book club weigh in on this?
Can I tell you something? So I did a vote, a poll. We love polls, and we'd have a poll every day for the dumbest things
Amazing.
Are you having soup today? Yes, no, we're not sure. We love data. But so I did a poll, but I was really pleased that the poll went the way that I wanted. So we ended up reading The Assassin's Blade third.
Okay. I'm with you. That's my reading order. So
is it really? Would you mind elaborating on why?
Well, I've not read it the other way, so I say this with such confidence, like I have experienced the other way. So I'm a big believer in publication order because I think that authors created something with a reason in mind. Like, I feel like there's a reason it was written that way. I don't know. I know there's a whole story behind she was writing it and then this and that and back and forth. I liked the emotional impact of knowing Selena first before getting her flashbacks. That's just my hot take.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, you know what? I am very aligned with you. I have tried it the other way. People are probably going to stop listening to the podcast right now because I've like annoyed half of your listeners. Sorry.
Don't leave Assassin's Blade first.
Don't leave
people.
us.
We love you.
Don't leave us. Well, first of all, I want to underscore before I ruffle any feathers. This is going to be like the lowest listening you've ever had an episode because there's going to be a drop off right now. I want to underscore that I think the strong opinions about reading order is such a beautiful thing because it shows that there is such passion and so many different ways to experience this wonderful series.
Yes.
However, I've tried the Assassin's Blade first. Not for me. I don't want to start an epic story with short stories. Like,
No,
I'm sorry.
That's a great point. And you know what? You know what I'm not going to ask you right now? We are not going to do opinions on the tandem read because we don't need to lose those people.
No, we don't need to. Well, no.
Moving on.
Yeah. Sorry. I love how you're like, you start off always saying how your podcast is going to be like a cozy vibe, and I've already started war. Like, I'm so sorry.
Listen,
Never going to be asked back.
Cozy is a state of mind that we can interpret however we please.
Oh my gosh, it's like what are you reading? I'm like, let me tell you every book that's on my bookshelf right now, and then let me just throw a brick at everyone who likes Assassin's Blade first. I'm so sorry.
I asked you the follow-up question. I opened the door for you to walk through.
I love it.
All right. So, Lauren, if we were cozy people, something that I think goes hand in hand with being cozy is warm beverages. And I like to ask everyone, what is your go-to or favorite warm beverage?
I am so glad that you've asked me this question because I am very passionate about my answer. It's a beverage that I have every single day. Every single day, and it's a very specific brand. So
I'm ready. I'm so ready.
Okay. So it's a Canadian company, but I checked and they ship to the US. So all American listeners, this is an option for you. It's by a company called David's Tea. And the variety that I specifically love is their cinnamon rooibos chai blend. And so it's a decaffeinated chai, which is great because you can have it right before bed, which you can't always do with chai teas. And it's the most scrumptious blend. There's definitely cinnamon, but it's not overpowering. There's an element of sweetness to it as well. And I have it every single day. Whenever there's a sale, I spend like $150 on tea. And I get this gigantic box of loose leaf tea. My partner is always like, what is this? Because it's this gigantic box that's like turquoise filled with just one type of tea. But I love it. And I've had it for 8 years every single day. Sometimes I travel with it. So yeah, that's my go-to warm beverage.
All right, David's Tea Company, if you're out there listening, you cannot go out of business. Lauren is banking on you
I'm
for
single-handedly supporting. No, if they go out of business, like there will be a problem. Like I will have a crisis. Like they cannot go out of business. I'm gonna have to stock up after this because that thought is gonna keep me up at night.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's great. I love it.
If you could share that scrumptious chai tea with any two book characters, who would you share it with?
Oh, that's a good question. I love a quirky side character. So, could I invite Feyre to tea? Fine. Would I want tea with Nesta? Like, I don't know. I love Nesta as a character, but I don't know how the small talk would be. So my answer is Kaz from the Spell Shop. I mean, he's the greatest. And then Princess Donut from Dungeon Crawler Carl. I think we'd have a great time. I think we'd get up to some shenanigans. I think it would be great.
I love everything about that answer. Forget the people. Bring the cat and the plant. That's all we need.
Like, I just think we'd have a blast. Yeah.
Okay. I love it. The last question I like to ask at the top side of the show is sometimes the hardest one. But if you had to kind of try to encapsulate the first thing that comes to mind when I say, how does reading bring you joy? Like, where is the joy in reading for you? What would you say?
I have always been a fairly anxious person, and I tend to be up in my head a lot instead of in my body. And for me, I find that reading is one of the few things that actually puts me into almost a meditative state in a way, because I have to let go of the dialogue that's going on in my brain to fully immerse myself in the wonderful worlds that have been created by others. So reading's constantly the highlight of my day. I absolutely love it. I find it just so inspiring to see what people can create, what emotions they can evoke, how I can really, really connect with characters that are just ink on paper. I think it's just an incredible way to tap into your emotions, and I love it.
It's like magic. Like how you said, like that, just it's words on paper, and it's like this whole transformative experience. It's wild.
Yeah, absolutely. And I especially love books that put me in the shoes of characters who are different from myself.
Yes.
And I just think there's always so much to learn from a book, even if I don't personally connect with it. That invites a lot of self-reflection, and I really love it. It brings me joy, full stop.
Yes. And reading should bring us joy. Like I've always said to myself, people ask me like how I keep up with making content about reading and all of this stuff. And I say, I just don't do the parts of it that don't make me happy.
Yeah.
Because then it's a job, then it's sucking the life out of me. And that's never what reading was supposed to be.
Yeah. Has your relationship with reading changed since you started creating content?
Oh, that's a great question. I think a little bit. I think creating content has, I've always been an analytical reader, but I think creating content has made me an even more analytical reader because of the way that I'm now having back and forth conversations with people instead of just sitting by myself and reading something. But I've tried to maintain reading what I want, going with my mood, like not feeling the pressure to just read what other people are reading to keep up with. So I think ultimately it hasn't, other than just making me a deeper thinker.
Yeah. It's awesome. I love it.
Yeah. So I want to get into a little bit about you and the things that you do and what we know you for and maybe some things we don't know. Can you share a little bit about yourself and how you became, like, how did Lauren of Book Huddle come to be a thing?
Well, I didn't plan to ever become Lauren of Book Huddle, and the whole journey was very organic.
Okay.
And I am just so amazed to look back at how much my life has changed in just a few years in ways that I never, ever expected it to be. So my career before Book Huddle was as a content strategist. So writing was a really, really big part of my life for well over a decade, but it wasn't necessarily creative writing. It was marketing, copy, business writing, sometimes helping people ghostwrite books, things like that. And I would really help people and companies grow online, and I would come up with their content strategy and really help them achieve their business goals and by growing a community. But I was always too shy to put myself out there. I might be chatty, but I'm 100% an introvert, and I could be like on an island for 10 days alone and be totally fine. Like as long as there's air conditioning, like I'd be fine.
Don't forget your tea. The tea
and
needs
my
to
tea.
be there with the air conditioning.
I would be more upset about not having tea than being a bit like on an island in the first place. But I was getting questions from clients in 2022 about how to grow on TikTok. And I hadn't ever really spent time on the platform, and I didn't know how to advise them. So I created an account and was spending a lot of time there, realizing that TikTok was more than just people dancing on videos. And it was really cool. And then I a friend was like, well, if you love TikTok so much, why don't you post there? And I was like, that's a really interesting idea. So I started posting with the goal of figuring out how TikTok worked so I could tell my clients how to grow. And it quickly took off. And it was pretty amazing. And about, I think, 9 months after my first TikTok post about books, I shared an idea for a reading retreat that kind of went viral. And that was in April of 2023. So yeah, almost exactly 3 years ago at the time of this recording.
Yeah.
And I think it was shared like 18,000 times or something. It was bananas. It was absolutely bananas. And people were commenting, being like, I'd love this. I'd love this. Where can I sign up for this? Some people were like, can I give you my credit card? And I'm like, oh, wow, I guess this is something people want. So I whipped together a survey that was very extensive, asking people where they were from, where they'd want the retreat. They'd want to share a room, what price point they were looking for, blah, 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 blah. And I think it was something like 2,400 people filled it out, which was nuts. And I just was like, I have to try this. I've never done event planning before, but clearly people want this, and I'm gonna try. So anyway, we had our first retreat in October of 2023, and I created my Instagram account the day before. Like my very first Instagram post was the day before our retreat started.
Wow.
So it's been a whirlwind, and we've now done 18 reading retreats in under 2.5 years. And Book Huddle has been my full-time job for a year and a half. And it's wild. Every day I wake up grateful, but also incredibly fearful that I've hallucinated and none of this is real. So, because it's just gone so quickly. It was so unexpected.
Oh my gosh, I love this origin story. I have a follow-up question. Was the TikTok account called Book Huddle, or like what was the original? Like, was it just your name and you just did it personally, and then Book Huddle was the Instagram? How did that happen?
I love this question. When I first created my account, it was the Lauren Moore, which was like my name. And I originally tried a bunch of different topics. So I wanted to see which stuck. And so I think I did, it's like so embarrassing. I think I did like task management and efficiency. I did, I don't know, business. I did books, and I can't remember what else I did, but I tried a bunch of different things, and it was very clear that no one wanted to hear any of the other topics, and they only wanted to hear books. And I really had imposter syndrome, and I still honestly do have a lot of imposter syndrome, because I mean, what do I know? What do I know about books and stuff? Or try my best, and I feel like I've become a much better reader. And yes, I do have an English degree, but I just, you know, this is all just so new and so truly unbelievable. So, but yeah, the book content was what did well, and I decided to go all in. I picked up A Court of Thorns and Roses and Air Awakens, and the rest was history.
Yeah. I know, I hear what you're saying about imposter syndrome. I feel that a lot also, but I think what I love about the story you've told also, and something I want to commend you on, is you filled a void for people. Like, you didn't go in with this, like, this is what I'm going to make people do with me. That organic piece, I think, is so important in building a community. And I love that you filled in what people were asking for, and it's more of like a facilitation than being like the dictator of the Book Huddle, like you. And I love that you've brought people together like you have, and that's really what I want to dig into later on in these questions. That's so cool. That's so brave.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. I remember the very first post I did was about books, and it started off, it was like, hi, I'm Lauren, and I can't remember it verbatim, but it was just saying something about how I wish I had real life friends to talk about books with. And one of my actual friends who doesn't read books was like, whoa, when he saw my post come up on his feed. I just decided to do it. And I promised myself I would do 2 posts a day until I figured it out. And it was great because I ended up I forced myself to figure out what is the lowest effort content that's just comes most naturally to me, that takes the least amount of time because I had a really demanding day job.
Yeah.
But ultimately gets the greatest response. And that helped me very quickly put aside any perfectionism and any imposter syndrome, because it became almost a fun puzzle for me to figure out. It's like, what version of me as a human with like 100 different facets do people most respond to? And it ended up being the most authentic version of me. And that really helped.
I love that so much. And I love the facets of you I've been able to experience, like as a viewer of your content for like 2 years now. And I really want to dig. I have so many questions about the retreats and the community aspect, but I also have burning questions about the other pieces of you that I've come to love. And one of them is like, you are known for, like, you are the queen of book recommendations. Like, you need book recommendations, Lauren has got them if you haven't checked it out already. But I want to play a little bit like rapid fire recommendations, because I'm a mood reader. Like, I want a book with a vibe. So I have some moods that I might be in or someone might be in, and I'm wondering what book comes to mind when I say them. So that's the game, if you're down to play.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. If I want to cry, but I'm happy that I'm crying.
Oh my gosh, wait, this is supposed to be fast because it's rapid. Wild Reverence by Rebecca Ross.
Okay.
Because I find romance to be sometimes very moving, very happy, and there's something beautiful about two souls coming together.
All right, I want to ugly cry. I'm sad about it.
Oh, I've got one. I've got a brand new one that's amazing. Red City by Marie Lu.
Okay. All right. I've seen that everywhere, and I've seen you talking about it online also.
It is outstanding. For, you know how Fantasy Fangirls did that choose our next deep dive thing? Mm-hmm. So I was campaigning real hard for a group. Like, I bought an annual membership strictly so I would have access to the dining room. And I didn't even, looking back, I'm a little embarrassed about my behavior, because I got onto the Discord. I didn't even say, I was just like, hi, I'm here to campaign. And everyone was like, okay, freaking weirdo, like, get out of here. I was like, but anyway, so Red City is going to be my next campaign, as a heads up, if FFG ever does that again.
Okay.
It's great.
All right. What if I want to laugh so hard my belly hurts?
The Devils by Joe Abercrombie.
Okay.
And it's funny. It doesn't seem like it's going to be funny. It's hilarious.
Okay. All right. I've never read a book by Joe Abercrombie, so this might be my gateway right there. What if I want a book that might be a bit complicated? I might have to take notes to keep up.
This recommendation is what I was campaigning real hard for. The Raven Scholar by Antonia Hodgson.
Hey, that book has been recommended to me now like thrice by people that I very trust with book recommendations. So
yeah, I'd say if you like a Game of Thrones, but with a very unique world and with great complex female characters, then you would probably like The Raven Scholar.
All right. What is the first book that comes to mind if I want to explore a genre other than fantasy? Maybe I'm like a hardcore fantasy reader and I want to bust out.
Oh boy. Could I do 3? Is that not rapid enough?
Nope.
Okay.
Do it.
Okay, because they're all going to be very different. So the first is The Correspondent by Virginia Evans. It's fiction. It was a #1 New York Times bestseller at the end of last year. And it was my favorite book of 2025. I liked it more than any fantasy book I read. It's amazing. And it's epistolary style, which means it's all written as letters. There's no narrator, no description. It's all letters back and forth, and it's absolutely incredible. And it's short too. So I think that's a great one. The second one is, okay, stick with me. Stick with me first before I do it, before I share. It's called King Sorrow by Joe Hill. It's a supernatural thriller, but there's a dragon. So that's why I think it could be good for fantasy.
Okay.
And it's about 6 college friends who summon an evil dragon to get revenge on people who are blackmailing them. But then in return, the dragon demands an annual sacrifice. It's so good. It's so good. It's one of the highest rated books we've ever read in my book club. Like,
wow.
People loved it. It'll probably win Book of the Year for 2026 for my book club.
Wow.
Okay, and then the third one is amazing. It's a YA historical fiction, but even though it's YA, please don't dismiss that as it being simple by any means. It's incredible. It's Junie by Erin Crosby Eckstein, and it's this really, really powerful story about an enslaved teenager right before the Civil War, and she accidentally awakens her sister's ghost. It's the first acknowledgments in a book that has ever made me sob. It's so beautifully written, and obviously check trigger warnings because anything in that time period and setting is deeply upsetting, but it was spectacular and it was a debut. It was amazing.
Wow. I'm so glad this is recorded because I am not writing anything down right now. And I am like, I need to read every single one of these. Last one is, a lot of people are always asking me if I know a really good standalone novel because they don't want to commit to a series. What it comes to mind when you think of a good recommendation for a standalone? I
would have to say Blood Over Brighthaven by M.L. Wang. It's just, it's so good. And it's a book that stays with you. I read it well over a year ago and I think about it every day. I don't know if you're the same way. Like,
yes.
It's just, yeah.
Yes.
It's really spectacular. And I found this, no spoilers, of course, but it really does have a satisfying ending. Like the story absolutely feels complete after. And I think that's the key with a standalone, is you need to feel like there's no way there could be a sequel after this. And that's how I feel about that one.
Yes, and I've talked to people who feel like there should be a sequel, but sometimes I think the beauty, again, trying to say this in the least spoilery way possible, is the thoughts I am left with that the author doesn't have to explicitly answer for me. Like, that's the beauty of, like, me thinking about what happens to those characters afterwards based on what I read. And that book was game changer book for me.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I don't know if you're like this, but I love, and air quotes here, unlikable protagonist. I really, really love the puzzle of figuring out who they are and why their brain works a certain way. And I know that some people have not liked the protagonist of Blood Over Brighthaven. And I think that's for fairly understandable reasons, but I really appreciated her character. Like, I thought she was a great lead and really interesting and different from the other books out there.
And she was a product of the environment she was raised in. And we can't discredit that the way we are raised and what we are taught to be true has deep impacts on us as people. Yeah. I thought she was masterfully done, even if for half of the book I wanted to just like take the book to her little skull. But that's totally a conversation for that's not cozy either. Sorry. No, I'm really not going to do that. All right, well, let's talk about something lovey. My other than book recommendations, another thing that really drew me to you is this gosh darn book boyfriend list that you have that I love. Every time you post it where like it might have shaken up like in the top 10, I'm like, what did she do? I love it. I love it. Okay, what is the criteria for someone to get on the list or bump someone off? Talk to us.
Yeah. So evidently my book boyfriend list is not conventional at all. I don't know what that says about me and about my taste in men, but I'm not into bully romances of any kind. For me personally, I forgive, but I don't forget. And that applies as well to my book boyfriends. So I like book boyfriends who can see who our FMC really is and appreciate her for who she is and encourage her to be her strong, authentic self. I like book boyfriends who aren't intimidated by a love interest who's just as strong as they are. I love a brooder. I love they're like sullen but have big feelings inside. I love when they're nerdy and like reading. And I love Max Antarius Farleone. So
Yes.
yeah, he's kind of all those things.
Yeah, I think one of the first times I messaged you on Instagram was because I had been at an author talk with Carissa Broadbent, and somebody was asking, the talk was about Crowns of Nyaxia because one of the books was being released, but someone asked if any characters in the Crowns of Nyaxia series were as much of a wet cat as Max Antarius Farleone.
Oh,
and I was
gosh.
like, I need to know what Lauren feels about somebody calling him a wet cat.
This is all coming back to me.
Yes!
Jess, I forgot about this because that was so troubling to me that I put it in a black box in my brain and forgot. Can you imagine calling Max a wet cat? But I'm a cat person, so maybe that's why. But oh my gosh, I'm baffled.
No,
what do you think about him being called a wet cat?
No, I was so incensed. I was like torn to my core that I actually did an entire bracket of all the guys in books that we would call a wet cat just so someone would beat Max and be the wettest cat. Like, I was like, he cannot win this bracket.
Who did someone win?
I think Lorcan won.
Yeah, he has wet cat energy, I would say. Yeah, that makes sense to me. Because Max, okay, can I just talk about Max for a second?
Yes, I'm ready. Yes.
So something that really, and again, no spoilers here, but like Max has been through it. Out of pretty much every fantasy book I've read, I would argue that Max has gone through potentially the most traumatic backstory out of all of them. And so if he just wants to live in his little shack full of trinkets and books and be surrounded by wildflowers, let the man do it. He's been through the worst of the worst, and all he wants is a life of peace and solitude. Like, what is wrong with that? Why is that wet cat energy? I think that's actually like quite healthy because we know he's very powerful. He could be like causing destruction everywhere he goes. Like he could have taken a path of violence, but instead he retreats and just like, what is wrong with that? Why is that bad? Why doesn't everyone love him? I don't understand.
I don't know.
Amazing.
I recommend the War of Lost Hearts trilogy all day, every day.
Yeah.
But I always give the disclaimer that Carissa Broadbent is brutal to her characters. Like that whole series is like troubled character after, but like it's so good though. But it's like Max's backstory, holy camoles, I'm gonna just rescue him myself.
I don't know what, like, I could actually talk about this for so long because I just think I don't understand. Whenever I post my book boyfriends list, people are always like, what kind of name is that? I'm like, that is the name of a fantastic man. Username 123. That is the name of someone who's been through it all and has chosen goodness. That is the name of someone who supports his partner no matter what and wants her to be who she is meant to be and step into her full power. Like, what is the issue here? I'm deceased. Screaming.
This is the best. I
just can't. It's like, I don't understand. And then meanwhile, there's like other book boyfriends. Book boyfriends are a very personal thing. I'm not going to knock anyone for who they like. That's fine. But there are some very popular book boyfriends who are quite questionable, in my opinion. And meanwhile, Max is someone who's going to be with you to the bitter end. Like he's your, like, you've got a problem, just go to his little cottage and he's your guy. Like, I just don't understand. Anyway.
Oh my gosh. Lauren and I are walking away from this episode to make some merch that just says like #1 Max, end of list.
Yeah,
like
he's so great. He's so great. One thing that's really funny is because I've put Max on such a pedestal in my mind that I haven't even ever connected with Carissa Broadbent. Like I barely comment on her Instagram post. Maybe I'll do a shy little like or something. And like, I think I said once in a DM, like, thanks for making Max. Like, I was like, that was it. But I've put him on such a pedestal because I think he's just the greatest book boyfriend ever. I'm actually shocked. Like, if I ever saw Carissa Broadbent in real life, I think I would faint. I think I would pass out. Like, I can't even go to a book signing event because I think she is such a genius. I'm so happy that she has found all the success that she has because she deserves it. She's incredible. And she made Max. So
she did make Max. You know, he's not made for much, but she made Max. If you don't know that quote, you need to go read these books.
That was fantastic.
It's really...
Is he your number one book boyfriend?
He is. But it's like I feel like I have different book boyfriends for different reasons. Because like even I think about your list and like Cassian is number 2, right?
Yeah.
And Cassian, while he shares some of the qualities you were just saying about Max and like appreciating your partner and stuff, he's a much funnier personality, like a much like goofier. So like I have to compartmentalize my book boyfriends because like Max is almost like a book husband. Like I could settle in the cottage, you know? Like,
of course. Yeah.
But
I'll be right there with you.
Lauren and I are dueling in front of the cottage. He can be your number 1. I'm willing to back down, you know.
I think the more the merrier. The more people who read about Max and like him, like the happier I am. That's my position on it. So
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, so much. And I love, like, I could spend hours on your book boyfriend list, but I love that, like, half of your list is characters from Rachel Gillig's books also, because I'm a huge Rachel Gillig girl fan of all time. And, like, when I saw all of them on there, I was like, Lauren and I get it. Like,
yeah. Oh, my gosh. When I read The Night and the Moth, I did not expect it to be so electric in its romance. Like I was very taken aback in the best way. And like when we had our discussion on the book for Book Huddle Club, there was a point where I couldn't even continue my words because I was breaking out into like a blush just thinking about Rory's like drag you into the dirt, like what is it, drag you down with me or drag me into, I don't know, whatever it was. Like I was like sent into orbit when I read that. It was incredible. So yeah, Rory's big on the list. I think Rory in my latest ranking, because things move around quite a bit. In my latest ranking, Rory is ahead of Rhysand.
I noticed that.
Yeah.
I respect that because, well, you know what? I don't want to drive more people away by telling them how I feel about Rhysand. Let's talk about something else. Let's talk about community. So
let's do it.
Lauren, I really feel like, you know, all of this silliness aside about book boyfriends or throwing recommendations out, what's really at the core of what you do online and in person, because you've taken it off the computer and off the page, is the community that you have built. And I know that you've already shared that it happened very organically and it wasn't this thing that you really expected to happen, but here it is, you know. What are some things that really surprised you along the way as your community grew?
I think that what surprised and delighted me the most about the Book Huddle community is the fact that people of all ages and all walks of life have felt welcomed and like they belong and have found a community where they can truly, truly be themselves in a safe and inclusive environment. At our reading retreats in particular, it's been pretty amazing because we've had attendees who are anywhere from 21 all the way through 66 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, it's so cool. It's so great. Like we'll have people who are retired and coming with their best friend, or we'll have a mom who brings her daughter who just turned 21. It's so cute. And no matter the age, everyone rates the retreats equally high and, you know, finds new friends. It's really, really special. And I just feel so fortunate to be able to be connected with and to host events with people who have such high EQs and are so curious about other people and so respectful and open-minded. I recognize that in today's day and age, it can be hard to make friends. It can be hard to have peaceful conversations. It's like a divisive time in human history. And it just feels so beautiful to be able to be part of something that's so very, very positive.
That's so amazing. I really see that in so many people that I've met in the online space, is that the way we are able to connect here in places like Book Huddle or other discords or other communities does lead to feeling so seen, because adulthood can be so lonely. In the weirdest way possible. Like in adulthood, you have cars and means of transportation and jobs, and you can do things, and it's somehow more isolating than childhood.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that people like you who are willing to help nurture and cultivate that for people is so beautiful. Especially, again, the reader community has a spot in my heart since I'm a member of it. And I really see that with readers, because reading can be such a solitary hobby. But now in the year 2026, we have ways for it not to be. And I'm just so thankful that people like you are doing that and letting that grow and giving people that organic space to be like, this is me. And I'm here, and we're going to talk. And I love that you said people come with such kindness to your retreats. That's so amazing.
Yes. Actually, in order to purchase a retreat, you have to agree to my terms of inclusivity, where it's a checkbox. Like same thing as like, I've read the terms and conditions and I agree to be respectful of all attendees, no matter their religion or their racial identity or their gender identity or their body size. And it's like, I have this, and it's been in place since the very, very beginning, because I want people to know that this is a community where you will be safe being your authentic self, and your experiences and your unique perspectives and your opinions are welcomed, as long as they're going to be delivered in a respectful way that considers other people's experiences. And it's so, so, so important to me. And I feel like it's really important to the community as well. So I feel very, very lucky.
Oh, I love that. I love it so much. I'm so happy for you that you've seen the success that you have and have brought people together like that. I wonder on the other side, though, and maybe this is just personal and not something that specifically happened, but have you had any challenges that you faced, as the leader of Book Huddle and trying to make all these things happen?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, of course. Of course. And I do want to preface by saying that whenever I've been asked about, challenges or what's your least favorite thing about retreats or, things like that, I believe in honesty, of course, but I just want to be open that I recognize that I have it good. Like, I have a life that I love. I am excited to wake up every day. I am so, so, so grateful for everything. So just know that when I'm saying these challenges, these are it's very, very small in comparison to everything that I'm so grateful for. But I would say that a lot of my challenges are, shocker, psychological for me in my head. And it's mainly been kind of a few core things that I've identified actually through therapy over the years. But I am a people pleaser. I am also quite an overachiever. And I am someone who's very, very energized by goal setting and achieving goals. And so that combination of things, when you are your own boss and when you have quite a few eyes on you who are wanting things and wanting to participate, it can be a little challenging for me to pump the brakes and say no or check in with my limits as a human being, and or ask myself well, what do I want personally? Because I am someone who has always been a multi-hyphenate in the sense that when I was an employee at a company, I was always freelancing evenings and weekends. And then when I was freelancing, I would always try to be working as much as I could. And then I started Book Huddle. And then when I was Book Huddle, I was like, well, I'm going to write a book as well. I'm always, always working a lot. And I often have to remind myself that the goal should be to work to live, not living to work, at least for me personally. So a lot of the times, I think, to sort of bring it back to your original question, my greatest challenge has been, since I'm a people pleaser and since, retreats are very much in demand, and you can always be online and always be creating content and always doing more and more and more and more. It takes a lot for me to put down my phone and shut down my computer and not do something that's like moving me forward to my goals or satisfying the community.
Yeah, the satisfying the community part, like that really hit, like that just resonated with me in my own way as a content creator or somebody who has an online community. And I so much identify with the challenge. And I don't know if you face this of like, when you can't do something for someone, that affects my own self-image sometimes. Like, why can't I do all the things for all the people? And it even can be as simple as, people reach out to me all the time with books they hope I will read.
Yes.
And very kindly. Like, I don't find any of those messages mean or inappropriate, but there starts to be this weight of like, I cannot read 300 books a year. I can just read, or like I can only do, like you said, my limits as a human. So I respect the heck out of that challenge that you have faced, as it's like a journey I'm continuously on in my own life. Like, where are my boundaries and borders?
And it's tough because, again, like you said, these are all very, very positive things. And so it feels, for me, I always feel guilty or like I'm not doing enough or I haven't figured it out. It always turns into kind of this internal berating if I'm not able to do something. And I remember one of our first reading retreats sold out very quickly. And part of what makes our retreats so special is that they're smaller in size. Like, we've made them slightly bigger over the years, but there's definitely a cap of how many people we can have to maintain an intimate environment, because I don't want it to feel like a conference. I want it to feel nice and cozy. Not that conferences aren't nice, but I just mean like I want it to feel intimate. And I would get some really, really angry messages from people who didn't get tickets and would be like, well, you should do more, you should do another one, you should do this, you should do that. And like I should, but there was a time where I was like, okay, trying to figure out, okay, well, if I do a retreat every other weekend for the next year, then maybe, and because that's my default way of thinking is like, how can I solve this problem? How can I make this person happy? How can I do this? And it really took me going to therapy a few times to realize, like, I don't want a life where I'm on the road 24/7. And just because, someone is unhappy doesn't necessarily mean that like I should be unhappy as well. So anyway, those are my greatest issues.
Lauren,
it's all me.
I am just mentally clocking the 75 reasons I have to have you back for another episode, because we just have so much in common. Like, I could talk to you probably for an entire hour about being a recovering people pleaser. I'm wondering, through all of that, though, I mentioned earlier that I feel like you're very brave. And now you've talked about some of the personal challenges you've faced in doing this thing that you have loved. And I also feel like there has to be an element of vulnerability in putting yourself out there and inviting people to spend time with you that you've never met, right? And I'm wondering, how has leading this community changed or impacted you as a person?
Oh, I've been profoundly changed by this community. Profoundly changed. I would say that my whole life, I have been trying to figure out how I can be the version of Lauren that is most useful and most desirable to others, whether it's, being at the front of the classroom in school and raising my hand and being a teacher's pet, or being a really hard worker at my day job, or being available 24/7 to clients before I was working on Book Huddle. Whereas with Book Huddle, I think what's so touching is that I've been able to unlock this new career, this new life, by showing up and being my most authentic self. And it's such a gift. It's really special. I'm probably going to start crying. I'm like, oh my gosh. It's really, really special that I can be me, 100% fully me. And I don't think it's a coincidence that the second I kind of put down the masks and costumes and just started speaking about what lights me up and what's on my heart and sharing my voice and my opinions and lifting others up, that a community started to grow. Yeah. And it just really, really feels like this is my calling. It really feels like this is what I was put on this planet to do.
want you to stop that answer. I'm just like,
I could keep going, but it's it's really special.
Oh,
really
because
special.
that's what we all want, right?
Yeah.
Like, what a cool experience for you to have that moment where you're like, this is the thing. This is the thing that I do that matters and makes me feel seen and fulfilled and whole. Right.
Yeah.
I think about how many places, even myself personally, I'm out there being the version of myself that place needs.
Of course.
Right.
Yeah.
And where are we our whole selves? That's so, I love this so much for you. You're making me, so like, this leads me to a very important question, which is, maybe this is just me asking for myself or someone else out there needs to hear it also. I've never committed to a reading retreat because I am nervous as heck to show up somewhere with a bunch of people. I don't know. I'm the girl who has to take a friend to the bathroom. Okay. Just so we all know. So what would you like, what is your like couple sentence? Like, what would you say to someone who's nervous like I am about why it's worth a shot?
Oh gosh, I'll try to do it in a couple sentences.
You can have all the sentences you want.
So I have not attended, and I honestly don't really know too much about other reading retreats out there. I tend to kind of stay focused on my own lane. So I can only speak to the Book Huddle experience, but I imagine this is applicable for kind of all things. 80% of first-time attendees to our retreats come without knowing anyone.
Oh, I would have never guessed that.
We've done 18 retreats in 2.5 years, as I mentioned, and that's been almost 800 people. And a lot of them, over 50%, have come back for a second retreat. We have some people who have bought tickets to 10 retreats. A lot of them are at over 5 now. And it's pretty special to know that people had a positive enough experience that they wanted to come back. So I guess my words of wisdom, I suppose, if I have any, is that life is for living. And if you're finding yourself intrigued or drawn to something, I think it's worth asking why and being a little curious about that feeling. And it's also worth thinking about what's the worst case scenario. So like, what is the worst case scenario? You go and you don't make friends. Like, fine, you can go to your room and read a book for the whole weekend and it'll still be recharging in a way. And it's a good lesson to learn, I suppose. But what if it goes really, really well? Your life could be changed. There's 12 people out there in this world have Book Huddle tattoos. Like,
I was going to ask you about that.
Real tattoos of the Book Huddle logo, because our community and our retreats have such a profound impact that they've made friends for life. They've truly, truly met their best friends through our retreats and still text with their huddles every single day, and have now gone on their own retreats and met up with people. And it's just so, so special. So I would say, I think it's something that everyone should try if they're interested, because the downsides don't really seem that extreme to me.
Oh, I'm going to start crying thinking about finding people, right? Sometimes I think what we're missing in this world is being with each other and reaching out and connecting. And just the way you described the impact this has had on the people who've come to your retreats, I think it's really a blessing in this world that there are places people can go and connect with each other like that.
Absolutely.
I'm going to have to commit. I'm going to have to try it. I'm going to have to.
I would love that. It would be great. And I mean, I'm sure the other reading retreats out there are fantastic. And I just think, I don't know, maybe this is blindly optimistic, but I just really, really think that books can change the world. I really, really do. Because when you're engaging in art that encourages you to walk in the shoes of someone with a different perspective than you, when you are discussing how your emotions were impacted by that art with someone who has a different experience than you, I think it just creates this really wonderful opportunity for understanding and respect for each other's experiences. And I just really think that that would solve a lot of problems in our world today. Honestly, it's just, I don't know. So the retreats are so magical. They're so fun. The people who come to them are incredible. And it's always very special because we'll have an opening mixer reception thing. About 1 hour after people get to their rooms. And at first, every single retreat, people are kind of nervous. You can sense this energy in the air of like hesitation. And then like clockwork, 10 minutes into the mixer, every single time, there'll be booms of laughter that start all across the room, and the ice has been broken and people start having a great time. And then like, that's it. Everyone's best friends. It's like, it happens every single retreat. It's so special.
Oh my gosh, that sounds so cool.
It's really great.
I love it. Oh, Lauren. Oh my gosh. What a cool thing that you do. I know I'm like a broken record this episode, but I'm just like so in awe of creative people like you who chase things like this and say, I'm going to do it and I'm going to make it happen for other people. And like, what a gift you are. Oh my gosh.
I would not be in this position if I didn't have a community that believed in me, honestly, and a community that believed in what Book Huddle stands for. Like, there's no way. So while I'm sure like my face is everywhere, I'm sure I'm organizing these events, it really is the community. Like, the community is the lifeblood of Book Huddle. And I definitely wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today without them.
Oh, you are such like a jack of all trades though in the book world. Like, this is the other thing I learn about you. Like, and another piece of the puzzle I want to touch on before we head into the like ending parts of this episode is you're also an author. Lauren, this is like crazy to me that you are a reader and an event planner, and you mentioned that earlier that you were like, why don't I try being an author? Is that really how that started for you? Just waking up one day and being like, what if I wrote a book? How did that begin?
I've always been a super avid reader and writer as a kid. And I always had dreams of writing my own fantasy book someday, but for various reasons and for imposter syndrome and, a whole bunch of different things, I'd never really taken that dream seriously. But actually, Jess, what a lot of people don't know, or at least I don't think they know, is I started working on this book before I even hosted my first reading retreat. I started working on this book before Book Huddle had an Instagram account. What? This has been 3 years in the making. I reserved the domain name, like the website name of my book title in May 2023. Like, this has been, I've been working on this for a very long time. Yeah. So it's been happening like simultaneously, but I didn't start being public about it until about a year and a half ago because I was just worried.
Yeah.
It's so vulnerable. I was so worried that, people would think it was stupid or not be interested or whatever. But I found that as the Book Huddle community grew, as I became more comfortable with my voice, I felt safer to share what I was working on as well.
Wow. And do you have more than one book that you're writing? Did I see that somewhere? Is that true?
Yeah. So I wrote my first book and I finished it fall of last year. And then I started working on a second book. That's a totally different fantasy world. That one, it was an idea that I came up with a few years ago while I was trying to figure out what that first book was about and while I was learning about the craft of actually constructing a novel. And I had all these ideas that I would just jot down in a notes app of, a character in this situation or a character with this problem or this kind of magic system or this setting or this blah, blah, blah. Like, I just like kind of anything that came to mind as like something interesting. I would just dump it into this notes app that I still use to this day. And yeah, so I started working on a second book shortly after finishing this first one because I needed something to occupy my brain while I was trying to find an agent because when you're querying for an agent, it's pretty demoralizing because you send essentially a 3 to 4 paragraph pitch to agents, and then you'll include often the first either 5 pages or first chapter of your book right in the email, which is wild. You don't attach it. And then sometimes you just won't hear back.
Yeah.
And, it's pretty sad. It can be pretty sad to get rejections and for in something that you've like poured your heart into. And so I was finding that as someone who really likes to take action, I was like, I need to just put my creative energy into something else. I love writing so much, and I just wanted to do something different. So I started working on a second book.
Wow. So I started working on a second book. You go, girl. I mean, like, wow.
Well, just because it's fun. I love it. It doesn't feel like work to me. It's great.
That's so cool. Oh my gosh, I think you're the coolest person on planet Earth. So is there, and it's okay if the answer is no, but like, where do your books stand? Are there any updates to anything? Where are we at?
So there are updates, but I'm not allowed to share them yet.
Oh, brutal.
So I know. No, Jess, it's killing me. It's killing me. There are updates. I will share them the second I'm allowed to.
Darn it. Okay.
Yeah, there are updates, but I could share a little overview, like loosely, of what my first book is about, if that's helpful. So I'll share the comps, like the comparative titles, so you can understand the vibe. It's like, this meets this.
Oh, got you. Okay.
Yeah. So these are the comparative titles that I included when I was looking for an agent, and I ended up getting an agent, by the way, so that's great.
Yay!
Yes. And she's amazing. So it has the socio-political commentary of Blood Over Brighthaven. It has the action and romance of Fourth Wing. It has the cutthroat characters of Succession, the HBO show. I don't know if you've ever watched it. And then it has the vivid world building of Arcane, which is the Netflix animated show that's based on the video game. So it's very dark, it's very twisty, but there's lots of magic. There's a kind of slow burn, pretty intense romance. There's a magic system that I'm very proud of that I personally haven't read before, which I think is cool. My protagonist is 32 years old.
Yes.
She's not a plucky teenager from the wrong side of the tracks, which nothing wrong with that, but in my age, I need her to be in her 30s. the 18-year-old pathway is very far away from me. So, and yeah, it's every character is truly morally gray, like truly morally gray.
We will wait on bated breath. Who knows? Maybe by the time people are actually listening to this episode, compared to the time we're having this conversation, we will have a nugget.
Oh,
but
maybe.
I can wait.
Maybe.
Did I just convince you to tell me something? No.
No.
No, that's all.
I'll have to do like an update comment on whatever YouTube channel this is on, if that happens. So yeah.
Amazing. Watching so many people that I've come to appreciate as readers step into other roles has been so cool. As somebody, like, as the audience, I'm just like, I cannot wait to keep celebrating all this stuff with everybody.
Thank you. Have you ever thought of writing a book?
Oh, okay. So here's where I'm at with that idea. I get asked that a lot, and I have a lot of ideas where I'm like, wow, that would be a really fun story, because I do think the book I would write would have a more comedic element to it. I don't see myself writing like some epic, dark, war-driven fantasy. I have no idea how to write something, and I am out of time at present moment. I'm not saying my life is over, to like learn a new skill like that. So I very much, like you, have this little place where I have these ideas I've written for, like, that would be a fun character, that's a fun weird thing that could happen, but like that is like my next life. I think so I've thought about it, but I know right now I don't have the capacity or the skill set to do that.
Yeah, and as well, launching a podcast is no joke.
Yeah.
It's so much work. Can I just tell the listener for a second how positive my experience has been as a guest up until this point? Because, some podcasts will just ask if you want to come on, and then you won't get any preparation. Like, you won't really know what they want to talk about. And you come onto the podcast and you don't really know what to expect. And I have just been so blown away by the thoughtfulness that has gone into every interaction that we had leading up to this recording. Like, super friendly outreach email, planning far in advance, sending these incredible questions and saying that I'm allowed to say no to some of them if you want. Like, these things are such gifts, and they're so so wonderful. And I think it's no surprise that your podcast has been such a success right off the bat. You've done these incredible interviews, and it's because you're making it so easy for someone to be a guest. It's really, really special, very rare. And I just want people to know how great it's been. Like, I even got a reminder email from Peyton yesterday. Like, just the professionalism is outstanding. So well done.
Thank you. This is like, you know how you were saying that you had that moment with the book retreats and bringing people together where you were like, this is my full self. And I feel so good about that. That's how I feel talking to people like this. Like, this is my, like, I love digging in with people. So you just made my whole day, Lauren. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I mean, because being interviewed for things can feel kind of scary sometimes because if you don't know the person well, or if you don't know what the purpose of the interview is going to be, you know, it kind of makes you wonder, like, is there going to be a gotcha question? Or are they going to try to make me look stupid? Like, whatever. And I just knew right from the get-go that this was going to be a very safe place, a very joyful experience. And I just think that the people must know, Jess. They have to know. This is great.
Okay. Thank you. Oh my gosh. All right. I'm not crying on the internet today. Oh, that was so sweet. I can't even regroup. All right. My last question that's related to reading and books before I have a fun segment we do at the end of every episode. But the last question before that is, I think a lot as a lifelong reader about the younger version of me, young reader Jess. I'm assuming there was a young reader Lauren back in the day. What is one thing you would tell her now, knowing what you know, if you could talk to her?
I think I would say speak up. And the reason for this is because I was so passionate about many things when I was a kid, but obviously I was very, very passionate about reading. It was my number one passion. Actually, at one point, I think I was in 4th grade, I was obsessed with The Hobbit, and I like asked if I could do a presentation to the class so I could encourage my classmates to read The Hobbit. Everyone's probably like, can you please sit down? It's like this huge book, and I'm like, you need to read this. Frodo's great, you know, whatever. But around that same time, I remember I had a teacher who said on my report card that I was outspoken. And as someone who tried to be a straight A student, that really had a profound negative impact on me because oh my gosh, you're covering your hand. Are you sad for little Lauren?
A little bit. I'm sad because I'm a teacher by day. So you get like, I get what you're saying about how much what we say to our students matters. So that was why I reacted the way that I did.
Okay. I didn't even know that. So it was really sad because, well, first of all, now that I'm an adult and can see how much misogyny there is in the world, I'm like, I bet none of the boys in my class ever were called outspoken before. But after getting that, because I deeply, deeply cared about being like the best in class, I became quiet. I became really sullen. I was scared to speak up. I was scared to share my opinion on things for a very, very long time. Or if I ever did share my opinions on things like later in high school and stuff, I'd always be kind of beating myself up inside and replaying it over and over in my head, wondering if I came across as, I don't know, too aggressive or too stupid or too whatever, like just all the things. I think I would say, you know, little Lauren, that teacher can shove it. And like, don't listen to her. Not all opinions are equal. And I don't know, I think continue speaking up, because the more assured you are in your own perspective, the less you're going to be like looking for other people to boost you up. It comes from within. So anyway, that's probably what I'd say.
I love that. Oh, I love that. I don't love that teacher said something that made you feel like you had to be quiet, but I love your perspective on it now.
What would you say to little Jess?
I would say to little Jess to stop trying to be a chameleon so often. There was a part of me growing up that really desperately wanted my friends to like me. And I still struggle with that as an adult, feeling like, will friends stick around? Am I the right person to keep them around? And there were a lot of decisions I made in childhood and adolescence that were just out of fear of wanting to make sure that I still fit some box for some person that was a good friend. I don't begrudge any of my friends. They did not ask me to do any of these things. But I would have told myself that your real friends will stick around for you, or they're not your real friends. And that is something I still struggle with as an adult, but feel more assured in at age 39 that I am who I am. And if someone is not cool with that, then that's okay. They can make a new friend. But as a child, man, I struggled with that a lot.
Yeah, totally. And it's tough because when you're a kid, you don't have the emotional language to be able to really articulate that. And if an adult can't see it, then, you know, you don't know what you don't know. Yeah.
Oh, we got to go hug little Lauren and little Jess. They did all right. They got us here, though. Like, I would not change. Like, I learned things along the way, but I would tell her that. All right, Lauren, this is my favorite part of every episode because you made me cry too many times before this moment. No, I end every episode with something I lovingly call a chaos question. It has nothing to do with books, nothing to do with reading, and it might not spark joy. Who knows? We're going to find out. And I did not tell you this question ahead of time because I want your honest reaction. All right, you ready?
I think so. My hands are sweating.
So someone asked me this question once, and I was like, why are you asking me this? But yet, how have I never been asked this? So here we go. Realistically, how many live pigeons do you think you could hold? Like, and hold them? And
is it to hold them successfully, or is it just like, how big can you make your arms? Like, is it holding them so that they feel cared for? And
I'm gonna compromise slightly on pigeon care. I don't want any of them to befall harm, but I wouldn't say we're cuddling the pigeons. How many pigeons could you hold at a maximum?
We're handling them. Like, the pigeons need to be moved from A to B, and I'm the only person who can do it. Okay.
You are the only person.
I'm making a ring shape with my hands. Because pigeons are, like, pretty small, and they can compress. They can compress. Hold on. 2, 3, 4. Are they like are they flapping and moving a lot, or
they could? I don't know what mood they're in. The pigeons.
Yeah. Okay, I'm imagining like really, really dire circumstances that I'm having to scoop up pigeons. You know, I think I could successfully do. I think I could do 10.
10 pigeons.
Yeah, it would be 2 rows of 5, and I'd be doubling them in the middle, and I'd be it would be like 2 rows of 5, and they'd look like little rows of shark teeth around my torso. I'm imagining their little heads. It would be like, like 5, 1 in the center, and then, Okay. I think I could do 5.
You're bear hugging 10 pigeons.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that would be the key is I'd need to like pin down their wings with my forearms and my chest. So there would have to be 2 rows.
How did you get all 10 into your arms?
Well, I am like an animal person, and I think the key would be that I would have bread. Like, I would bring bread to get them all in the same place, and then like lovingly make a big circle with my arms and kind of like hug them, and I'd be as really low to the ground, like squatting, and I'd get them at like shoulder level so they couldn't flap away, and then they wouldn't even know it was happening because they'd be distracted by the bread. And then I'd like lock in and then do a really abrupt, powerful squat to stand, and then we would go where we needed to go. That's what I think. But Jess, don't ask me to do this in real life. I'll never forgive. I'm like, no one will ever see this, but that's my plan.
That was the most like methodical plan for the most absurd concept I have ever heard. I believe you. I believe that you could hold 10 pigeons. I laugh so hard because my answer is 1. I think I could hold 1 pigeon.
Would you hold it with both hands?
I think that this is all I'm capable of as a person. I don't see myself wrangling. I also have like a crippling fear of birds. So I think, I hear you. I think I could maybe hug a couple, but I would need someone to help me put them in. Like, I don't see myself doing, so I just have 1 pigeon. My husband gave a ridiculous answer to this question. Like, it was an insane, I forget what the number was now. That's making me really mad. I'm going to have to put it in the 20? Comments. It was something absurd. I don't know. And he is like 6'4", so like I respect that his arms are larger, but once again, I have questions.
I mean, his arms might be large, but like nature always finds a way. Like we can't 20s, I'm sorry, Jess's husband, but 20 is not right. That's not
Okay.
I mean, that's a lot of
He's
pigeons.
going to listen to this and be like, that's not what I said. So I'll have to
I mean,
post a
I believe in
retraction.
him. I encourage him to try, but I mean, that's a lot. The one thing that I think is important to remember is that pigeons were originally domesticated. So they might cozy on up. They might like being scooped up. So
They might.
I guess we'll never know. Yeah.
I'm picturing you now as like the Disney princess of pigeons.
I really, because I was thinking the lady in Home Alone.
At least I got you a nice dress instead of like. Oh my gosh. I'll be curious to hear what other people have to say about this question. Like, what is the range of pigeons they think?
I mean,
they
maybe
can hold?
10's too many. I'm not a very tall person. I'm 5'4". So like my arm, I mean, I do have a long torso. So my arms, I suppose, are longer than you'd expect. But
you're a woman with a plan, and there's something
Yeah.
to be said of that.
I think
Oh
the
my
energy you
gosh.
put out and the supplies you bring, like an organic multi-seed bread, I think that makes all the difference to start.
It does.
So
It does. Those pigeons will appreciate that you cared for their health to bring organic
Yeah.
bread.
yeah, of course.
Lauren, thank you so much for being here to chat about all the amazing things that you do in the bookish world. It has been truly a delight. I could talk to you forever, I think, if you would stay, but we're going to wrap things up. And thank you to all of you out there for coming in to join us as well. Hopefully you're off to find a great book to read and maybe even finally take a leap on a reading retreat, hearing what a magical experience it is. A quick reminder to go ahead and check out the Fantasy Fan Club in the link in the description. And if you're interested in checking out the other shows in the network, be sure to give Fantasy FanFellas a try. It's a super fun podcast hosted by Hayden, producer of the Fantasy Fangirls, and Book Talk star Stephen Walker. It is so fun, and at the time of this recording, they were deep diving Brandon Sanderson's Mistborn. Follow Fantasy FanReads on social media, as well as me, your host, The Lost Books of Jess, on Instagram. And a reminder that this is a new podcast, so please rate and review. I truly can't tell you how much it helps. And also, one last thing, if you have other friends out there who love all things cozy, be sure to share us with them as well. But thank you again, everybody, for being here, and we will see you next time. Bye!
Bye. Thank you.